Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, also known as Made in the Moment. And today I am going to be talking to you a little bit about tracking my hours. If you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you probably saw me posting about this last week. Well, I don't know when you're going to watch this. When I'm filming it, it was last week. I am a full-time grad student. I'm in my last semester of the second year of my master's program. So it is a pretty crazy time, lots of school stuff to do, but I also run Made in the Moment. So I have my YouTube channel, I have my patterns, and then I have all of the content creation stuff and everything else that goes into running a business. I got this idea actually from the creator Swell Entertainment. I actually grew up going to the same schools as Amanda and have been watching her videos. I saw her do this video where she used this app called Toggle to track her work throughout the week as a content creator and as a writer. The way she formatted her video was a little bit more of a vlog of what she was doing. Unfortunately, I am not going to be doing that. I'm just going to be kind of doing a retrospective of my week. I thought it'd be super interesting. I wanted to give her credit. I also wanted to say this video is not sponsored by Toggle. And for full transparency, after I posted these videos, they gave me Toggle Premium or Toggle Plus or whatever for free as a thank you for talking about the app. I've been using this kind of on and off since undergrad. There was a time where I was really into optimizing my performance and really keeping track of all my time and stuff, and it got to be a little bit too much and I didn't really need it. But it's a super interesting thing to do sometimes and I'm having a lot of fun with it right now. So I kind of had this idea because I tend to downplay what I do. As someone who has been socialized as a woman in this world, it's very easy to downplay the accomplishments and the hard work that I'm putting into this, and I'm noticing that I'm doing that, and I wanted to know how much time I was actually spending on this business while I'm in school. I apologize for the harshness of the lighting. I just went and looked at my camera and I'm noticing that it is very bright on my face. I hope that you can forgive that because the audio quality is good. Just put this on while you're knitting or something. But yeah, I mostly did this because I was just curious to know how much time I was spending. So on my Instagram and TikTok every day last week, I posted a little update of how many hours I worked. I'll show you the breakdown of the categories that I separated my work into. I separated the time out into yarn time, social media time, miscellaneous work, and YouTube. So these were just the categories that most broadly encompassed the work that I was doing. I'll briefly explain each one of them, though they're pretty self-explanatory. Yarn time is time that I spent crocheting or knitting, seaming together panels, sewing things together, things like that. Someone asked on one of my videos if I counted every project that I was working on or only projects that were specifically for my business. And I did count all of the time that I spent working on projects because pretty much every project I make ends up as content, even if it doesn't directly lead to a business related thing, even if I'm not selling it, if I'm not writing a pattern for it, anything like that. But it also just happened to be that I think all of the projects I'm working on right now, except maybe one, are either patterns that I'm writing or projects that I am making because I want to sell them. So that's yarn time, pretty self-explanatory. The social media component, this includes the time that I spend taking and editing pictures, making and editing videos, writing captions, replying to comments, responding to DMs, things like that. For primarily Instagram and TikTok, you'll notice I also have a separate YouTube label because I thought that was different enough that I wanted to separate that out a little bit. And because this year I am focusing on prioritizing YouTube specifically, I thought it would be interesting to see if the time that I wanted to be spending on that was what I was actually spending on it. And then the other category is miscellaneous work. This could have been broken down further, but essentially just contains everything that doesn't fit into those other three categories. So this is a lot of boring stuff, responding to emails. I'm working on my taxes right now and they are taking a really long time. I am scared to submit them because there's so many little things to check and hoops to jump through. And I've also included pattern writing activities into that chunk because at the moment I'm not writing a lot of patterns. I am running a tester group for a pattern that I'm releasing soon, but that really doesn't take much of my day-to-day time, so I didn't separate that out into its own category. For the sake of not making this video too repetitive, I am not going to go through and do a daily breakdown. If you want to see how all of these things broke down day by day, then you can go to my TikTok or my Instagram and watch my daily updates. I'm just going to tell you about all of the times for the week, and then I'll get into kind of my thoughts about this whole experience. So I tracked from Sunday, February 5th to Sunday, February 12th. This is an 8-day period of time. I wanted to include 2 Sundays because I do most of my work for my business over the weekend because I'm in school the rest of the week. So my weekends tend to have more time, and I just thought it would be more interesting if I had more data, etc. So from Sunday to Sunday, I spent 24 hours, 43 minutes, and 55 seconds working. This is the time that I tracked. I'm sure I missed a few things here and there. I know there were a couple times where I forgot to hit start when I was working on something, and then I started later. So it's probably I would say around up to 25, maybe 26-ish hours, which is a lot more than I thought it would be because I had a really busy week at school. I wasn't home very much, and I'm happy that I was able to still get a lot of work done even in a shorter amount of time. All of that broken down, I spent 46% of the time in yarn time. This was 11 hours and 23 minutes. The next highest category was social media time. This was 34%, which was 8 hours and 36 minutes. And then on miscellaneous work, I spent about 12% of my time, which was 2 hours and 57 minutes. And then for YouTube was 7%, an hour and 46 minutes. The very first thing that I'll say is I was really happy how much time I actually spent doing yarn-related things this week. I don't think the balance is always quite that strong, and I think that part of the reason why I spent more time doing that was actually because I was tracking the time, and early on in the week I noticed that my social media time was really, really high, and I felt like I was doing a lot of repetitive things, or I was not being very efficient with my time, so I would work on editing a video for TikTok, and then before I was finished, I would get distracted and move and go start writing a caption for something else, and then kind of just bouncing around. And I was realizing that I wasn't actually finishing any task that I started. I was just starting a bunch of things. And in the process of tracking the time and, sitting down, looking at the app and going, wow, I spent 2.5 hours on social media stuff today. That's kind of crazy, and it doesn't really correlate to where my priorities should be and where I want them to be. I was able to sort of rebalance things and decided that I wanted to very actively spend more time working on projects. And I have finished a lot of projects that had been in progress for a really long time. So I'm super happy about that. Yeah, and then like I said, it's a little bit jarring to look at this and see that I spent basically 9 hours on social media stuff last week. A lot of that was responding to comments and responding to DMs. I really tried to keep my DM inbox at 0, which is hard, and it's not there anymore. But it was there for a while, and that I think was because I was tracking my time. Kind of segues into my next reflection on this whole thing. I felt like I wanted to do more work because I was tracking it, and because I knew that I was going to be sharing this with people, and I wanted that validation from people looking at my hours, my numbers, this hard raw data, and going, wow, that's so crazy. You did all of this work and you're a student. And while there is, of course, a good side of being self-motivated and wanting to work hard and being motivated also by the approval of others, it's been interesting for me to sort of take a step back and think about why I'm working. And I don't want to work just for the sake of working. I don't want to work because people think it's impressive. I really like the work that I do, and I want to be careful that I don't burn myself out. So yeah, that's another thing that I noticed that I don't really have an answer for, but I just think is kind of interesting. Another thing that I noticed about the time breakdown is that I really would like to spend more time on YouTube stuff and put more hours down for that as well. So something that I'm going to try and adjust to kind of as I go. Another thing that I really want to do is kind of continue tracking my time and my hours spent so that I can see how it fluctuates from week to week, see if it stabilizes at any point. And really ideally, I would like to have kind of a game plan for when I graduate and when I finish my program, when I sort of have unlimited amounts of like free time. I want to make sure that I don't overwork myself. I think because I am in this really like high intensity part of my life at this point, where I am spending a lot of time working on schoolwork and I'm also spending a lot of time doing work for Made in the Moment, there's not a lot of wiggle room and there's not a lot of time for me to really deeply, purposefully rest. And I would like to kind of work that in and prioritize a work-life balance, as impossible as that is. That really is one of my goals, and I would like to be working towards that, and I think that seeing these numbers can really help me look at where my priorities lie. Like I said, this video is not sponsored at all by Toggle, but if you are someone that wants to kind of do like an audit of your time, I think this is a great exercise to do, even if it's just for a couple days, and then you can compare over a few days. If you want to do it over a longer period and then kind of just see how that works out for you, I think it's great. The sun is like really starting to come in to this corner that I'm sitting in. Another interesting thought that I have about all of this is that this job is so interesting because the hours that I put in to it do not really correlate with the amount of money that I make. I mean, in a sense, yes, because if I'm putting out products, then that might equal like time to money, but like I didn't get paid for the 24 hours that I worked. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you. Let me know your thoughts about all of this. I'm really interested to kind of continue the conversation in the comments and talk a little bit about like work-life balance, work balance, work-school balance. Like how do we do all of these things? How do we make money in a world where everything's so expensive? And how do we balance things that are important to us, because work can be important and school can be important and life and people can also be important, and how on earth do you figure out like where you are putting your priorities? If you try out something like this, then please tag me in your videos. I have already seen a couple people doing this over on TikTok and Instagram, and I think it's really cool just to take stock in what time you're spending and use that information however you can. I also think it's really important on the flip side to allow yourself to not plan things, not think so deeply about minutia of time and things like that. So all of this is a delicate balance, and you should take all of these ideas away with a grain of salt. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different than a lot of my other videos. But if you liked it, then please subscribe. I'm hoping to do more kind of educational content as the year goes on. And of course, I already have some more tutorials filmed that will be coming out very soon. But that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.